So there have been some questions about precedence of lines. That subject is considered in the course pack in the reading, but I wanted to illustrate it, maybe make it a little bit easier to understand what's going on. So the question is, what's the reason why here on this corner, when we project to the right, we have a visible line, even though in the corner behind it, we would have a hidden line. So should we draw a visible line and then a hidden line underneath it because one is in front of the other? Okay, so what's the thing to do when we run into this problem, when you have lines that land on top of each other? And the answer is quite simply, you have to go with the line that is the strongest. So which line is the strongest? The order from strongest to weakest, and what we've done so far in class, is that object lines are the most powerful lines, hidden lines are the second most powerful lines, and center lines are the weakest lines. So when we have two lines that land on top of each other, we go with the strongest line and don't try to sneak anything underneath because we're not going to see it when you go to draw it if you draw correctly. Alright, so the strongest survives. It's like rock, paper, scissors, right? One of them will win each time, and the one that always wins is object lines out of the three here. So in this example, that's pretty straightforward. The corner here, yes, it does project to the right, but this corner also projects to the right, and this corner projects to the right, and these object lines win out over the hidden line in the back. On this example here, we have something similar, right? If we were to go in and project that corner from here to here, of course we're going to get a visible edge, and if we go this corner over, we have a hidden edge, and the hidden edge is technically behind the visible edge. So one more time, we're going to go with the line that is strongest, and in this case it is the visible line. Now if you've taken the blueprint reading for welders and machinists class, I'm going to just throw this out here. I hate that book. The book has got more mistakes in it than it has factual information, but I have seen instances in that textbook where they say, hey, when you have this happen, the thing that you should do is just draw the one line a little bit higher than the other line so that they know something's back there. Well, I'm going to tell you, nobody does that. If you do it and someone catches you, they're going to slap you silly, okay? Never draw things if there's not something that you're representing, okay? See, there's nothing out here, right? So disregard that if you've ever heard it, seen it, or someone told you that. It is completely incorrect. All right, so here's a second case of precedence of lines and how it works and how to solve your problem. On this one here, it's kind of freaky. So let's take a look here and see what we got. In the top, these should be hidden lines, right? Because that hole creates a tunnel as it goes through front to back. And then lining up with the corner here and the corner here up in the top view, we should have some visible lines. So these are also nice and dark lines. And then of course, since that's a tunnel, we need to add a center line on that tunnel. And there it is. Okay, we just make sure it sticks out so that it's visible. Okay, so constructing the top view is very straightforward. Every corner, every part of the hole can be projected. The center mark can be projected to a center line. Look at the right view though. The right view is freaky, isn't it? So what on earth is going on in that right view? Well, let's take a look. Up here we have the top edge, and here is the corner for the chamfer. And the top of the circle, the quadrant location on the circle, lines up exactly with this corner. So yeah, this is a hidden line normally for the tunnel, right? The top of the tunnel. But because there is a solid line that coincides with it, an object line, the object line wins. Now over here, the center line can be projected, that's fine. And then down here, the bottom of the tunnel, the invert, can be projected, and that's all good. So when you look at this, see how the object line from this corner won out over the top of the tunnel from the hole going through the object. On this one here, again, we got a little bit of freakiness, and this one might be a little bit harder to see what the issue is. So what's going on here? Well, here's our front view. It's like a half pipe, right? And here's the top view. Nothing unexpected. Center mark here, center line there, right? So what did I leave off, or what might someone think is left off? Well, let's see. We got the shape. That looks good. And we got the hidden line for the bottom of the tunnel. That lines up with the bottom of the arc. What's missing? Well, maybe you were thinking, hey, don't you have to shoot the center line into the next view from the center mark? Now, if you thought that, that's good, because we did it here, didn't we? Didn't we shoot the center mark like a bow and an arrow into the next view? Should we have a center line over here? Right? Was that necessary? Well, it's kind of confusing, isn't it? Having two lines, one on top of the other. And can you see the break in that center line? You really can't, can you? So again, we go back and we consult with the precedence of lines. Which line is stronger, the center line or the object line? Well, the object line wins out. So that's the one we're going to go with. So we're going to take that away because that is not necessary. Okay, so we have our last example here. We have our front shape like this. It's got a little notch cut in the bottom. It's got a hole drilled through it. We see the corners of the notch have been brought up as hidden lines in the top view. The left and right extremity of the tunnel has been brought back in the top view. And the center mark has been brought up as a center line through the tunnel in the top view. So now, what are we going to do with these corners? Okay, so this one's already been projected, visible line. But how about the top of the hole? How about the midpoint of the hole, the center of the hole? How about the bottom of the hole? And then what do we do about this guy? Well, the top of the hole, that's pretty obvious. That's a tunnel, so that should be a hidden line, right? And then how about the bottom of the hole? Well, same thing. That should also be a hidden line. How about this one? It lines up with the center mark, so should that be a center line? Well, not really, because it also lines up with the corner here. And we project that over, we see that we've got a hidden line on top of a center line. And then what's the rule? Well, again, we have to consult with the precedence of lines. Center lines are drawn unless there is something more powerful on top of them. And in this case, the hidden line trumps the center line. Okay, so no center line here, even though we projected it up into the top view, simply because there's already a line there. And that is the corner from the notch. So hopefully this discussion has helped you to understand a little bit about the precedence of lines and how some lines are more powerful than others. And when you have a conflict and you're not sure which line to draw, don't draw both of them or all of them. Draw the one that has precedence and should be shown over the others.